Hi, everybody. We hope you're doing well. We just finished looking at Jesus' longest teaching in the Bible, the Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5, 6, and 7. Jesus talks about all types of things. He talks about how to treat other people. He talks about what values to have. He talks about how to follow God. And he talks about how to be wise in the people you're around and the people you listen to and the people who influences you. He talks about the right types of attitudes to simply be happy. I mean, there's so much that is foundational for not just following God, not just being obedient to God, but simply living the richest, fullest life that a human being could ever live, found in these 3 chapters. So I hope and pray that you'll go back to these time and time and time again and really reflect on, am I living my life these ways? Am I having this perspective? You know, a lot of us, sometimes we read a book, maybe you go to church and you hear somebody talk, like give a message or share about their story. Maybe it's something on TV. Maybe it's even a movie based on true events. Something that is not just fictional, right? Even though fictional stories carry a message. But you hear that thing and you go, wow, that's so true, or that's so right. Oh, that really touched me. But then what? Right? But then what? There's got to be a so what. Right? It's sort of like this. If you go to church, let's say you went on a Sunday and you gathered with your community and whoever was speaking or was sharing, it just hit home with you. Whether it was a new understanding of something or whether it was just completely relevant with your life or with where we are in the world, and you go, wow, that made perfect sense. Then what do? And not saying that this is you, but if you're like most people who I know in the West, is you go out to lunch, right? You go home and you leave and you go out to lunch either with your family or with your friends. You go get some dessert, you hang out, and you start your week again. I don't think that's what Jesus ever wanted to happen. Or maybe it's not church. You know, maybe it's just something on the news and you're aware that there's something happening and it really touches you, right? And it's not saying that if it doesn't touch you that you're an evil person, right? But there's certain things in the world that just hit deeper with us than other people because of our values, because of our interests, maybe because of our background. So it's not necessarily that one issue is better or more important than others. There will be multiple issues and some will just resonate with us. And let's say you hear about that. Something's happening in the news. Some injustice is happening. Your eyes are open to some situation in the world and it really touches you and you go, wow. And then what do? Maybe you post something on social media and you just sort of say, we need to not support this, or we need to not do this, or we need to be aware that this is happening. And then what? What do? What really changes? There's never going to be a point of our life where we experience God if all we do is listen and we do nothing. Even at the end of Matthew 7, at the end of the Sermon on the Mount, so that people were amazed at Jesus' teaching because he taught as someone with authority. What he said made sense, but people also knew it was right just by the truths behind what it was that he taught. So it wasn't just how he taught, although that was a huge part of it, but it was what he taught and that he had the lifestyle to back it up. And so it was never designed to just be inspirational words for people to sit on a mountainside and say, wow, that was amazing. He taught with one who had authority, not like our teachers, right? Not like Pastor Steve. And if Jesus came, he would have authority, right? Even then, if you don't do anything about it, if we don't go away and change how we live and do different things, then what we just heard isn't anything more than inspirational or inspiring or encouraging or maybe convicting words. It's designed to bring a change in life. So what's interesting is what happens right after this. As they come off the mountain, right? As the talk has finished, as they're going back into the real world, as they're going back into their daily lives, what happens. Let me read for you out of Matthew chapter 8. It says this: When Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy, which is a skin disease, came and knelt before him and said, Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean. Which is right. Like, he knew Jesus had the power to heal him. It was just if Jesus wanted to or not. That's why he said, if you're willing, you can do this. So Jesus reached out his hand, he touched the man, and he said, I am willing, be clean. And immediately the man was clean from his leprosy. Then Jesus said to him, see that you don't go tell anyone, but go show yourself to the priest and offer the gift Moses commanded as a testimony to them. So this was just like sort of the process of what would happen. This is doing it the right way, basically, is when God has healed you, go talk to the priest, let him know so that they could say it is actually a legitimate healing, and offer your gift as a testimony to them, to the priests and to the religious leaders. But right when Jesus come off the mountain, there's this practical aspect of putting it into practice, right? Putting it into living it out, not just listening, but doing it. And this man comes up and knows that Jesus has the power. It's more, is Jesus agree that he wants to do this? And Jesus does. Now, there could be a lot of talks about why did Jesus say, go do it this way, don't tell anybody. And there's multiple reasons for that. But the biggest thing for me is that Jesus didn't want people to just focus on his miracles. He wanted people to focus on what he taught, on what he was telling people to do. So even in this moment, could you imagine all of this teaching? Jesus just spent 3 chapters, or at least the way we divide it up in our Bible, 3 chapters worth of teaching about attitudes, about heart, about perspective, about relationships, all of these things. And then all of a sudden, a man with a skin disease, people don't even want to get close to him because they could become unclean, is healed. Boom! What do you talk about at dinner that night? You don't talk about all of the heart changes that are supposed to go on. You don't talk about the relationships that you need to either keep pursuing and deepen or cut off. You don't talk about being wise about how to follow God in today's world. Think of all those things Jesus taught. You talk about the man who got healed. And that becomes the thing until you get to the next thing. And that's really how the news works. It's just one big event to the next big event. And 1 week after the next, you forget what happened in the news 2, 3, 4 weeks ago because there's so many other new big things. What Jesus wants is that don't focus on the miracle. Focus on the message. Focus on the message that I'm giving you. And I hope as we continue to move throughout Matthew, that we will continually go back to the message in the Sermon on the Mount, because it tells us how to live. We need to apply those things. We need to go and do them. That's why Jesus came off the mountain, saw a man who had a need, and he met his need. He did what he was just teaching in Matthew 5, 6, and 7. The lesson for me, at least, is that as I go throughout my day, and unexpected things come my way, or even I see certain things that I notice for some reason, I need to act. And that action isn't just feeling compassion. That action isn't just saying, maybe I should do that. That action oftentimes isn't just posting something on social media. It's actually going and trying to make a change in a person or a community's life. As you hear the words of Jesus, don't just listen. Don't just be inspired, but be inspired to go act and see how true those words are as we put them into action. God bless.